Good afternoon and happy Monday. We're so excited to be starting your week. I'm Sneha Viuru.
And I'm Cassidy Rickley. You're watching NewsWatch Ole Miss. It's been another beautiful day in Oxford. And how was your weekend?
It was so great. It was our parents' weekend, so I was able to enjoy time with my family. How about you?
I was just enjoying the great weather. It's been so nice out. And speaking of great weather, let's take a look at our current conditions with Mackenzie Cox. Mackenzie?
Good evening, Rebels. It's currently 72 degrees outside. We'll have more coming up in news and weather.
Thank you, Mackenzie. With all of the crazy weather that's been hitting Mississippi lately, there's some panic and people are taking different precautions than before.
At the Mississippi Association of Broadcast Gala this past weekend, our very own Wednesday weather anchor, Seth Parento, won his first place on his tornado coverage package.
Congratulations, Seth. Let's look at the rise of tornadoes and what the people of Mississippi have to say about it.
The small town of Rolling Fork faced utter devastation last spring when they were hit by an EF4 tornado. This level of destruction was previously unseen in Mississippi, but according to Memphis Chief Meteorologist Andrew Humphrey, these types of storms are going to become more common in the state.
Additional forms of data have shown that Tornado Alley has shifted from the plains in the western Midwest to now over the Mid-South and Memphis, where the Mid-South and Memphis are in the bullseye of Tornado Alley.
Humphrey also said that the type of software that is used to track and detect tornadoes in the state is putting Mississippi at a disadvantage due to its unique topography, a problem Ole Miss researcher Dr. Roger Waxler is working on fixing.
We have found that we can acoustically detect tornadoes from great distances using an infrasonic signal that the tornado emits.
Waxler says that he hopes these changes in detection will save lives, but that nothing can be done to stop the property destruction caused by tornadoes, a sight that Susan Sensman is all too familiar with. Sensman and her husband Paul lost their house in Edwards, Mississippi to a tornado in 2008, and though they were warned about the incoming storm, Sensman says she didn't take it seriously.
We live so far out in the country, we had no tornado sirens, but we had a radio. Well, when you're trying to sleep, the radio keeps going off, so I decided to unplug it. Bad decision. And being blasé from the south, see tornadoes all the time, I said there's always tornadoes, and then I could hear it.
Having to start all over, the Sensmans were lucky enough to find a house in Myrtle, Mississippi that came with a tornado shelter, a structure they have already gotten plenty of use out of, so much so that they are fully prepared if there is the threat of a storm.
We have a box that when we know the weather's going to be bad for a day or two, we go ahead and stock that with, 3 or 4 days worth of medicines that we need, any important papers. We try to have some cash on hand.
Even before losing her home, Sensman says she was well aware of the devastation a tornado can bring.
As a nurse, there was a very bad, I think it was back in the 90s, I was working one night and a tornado hit Brandon. And I will never forget the trauma of those people that they brought us. It was horrendous. I'm surprised anybody survived it.
With the rates of tornadoes on the rise, make sure to stay safe and take all weather precautions seriously. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Seth Parento.
If there's one thing that Ole Miss students love, it's loaded teas. The Lucky Day LLC hosts events that combine loaded teas and relaxation, a fun time for Ole Miss students to rest and recharge.
Reporter Tyra Walton has more on the event.
Have you ever thought of what would be a good way to get students on campus out of their rooms? Well, for Ole Miss students, it would be free loaded teas. Recently, the Lucky Day RC held a small yoga class for students and gave out free loaded teas. Instructor Caitlin Ditz was able to help students relax as they took a break from their studies. To catch more events hosted by the LRC, follow their Instagram, LRC_Ole Miss. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, Tyra Walton reporting.
The Oxford Garden Club raised a whopping $17,000 for a new fountain in Lake Patsy at Pat Lamar Park. The fountain has now been installed and is a fantastic addition to the community. This fountain wasn't just put in to add to the scenery, as it is beneficial to the health of the lake. The Garden Club states, quote, "They hope that the community will be able to enjoy it for many years to come."
Seth Parento was not our only first place winner at the Mississippi Association Broadcast Awards. NewsWatch reporter Caden Williams received his honor for his first story that he's ever done.
Let's take a look at the University of Mississippi's Blues Archive's 40th anniversary.
Last Friday, the University of Mississippi's Blues Archive celebrated its 40th anniversary. The archive, located in the J.D. Williams Library on campus, commemorated the occasion by opening a new exhibition titled Soul and Spirit, 40 Years of Preserving the Blues. The archive was started by the first director of the Center for the Study of Southern Culture, William Bill Ferris, as head of special collections and blues curator Greg Johnson told me.
He was friends with a number of blues musicians and people important to the blues world, so including B.B. King. So B.B. King donated his personal record collection here in 1982 and 83. That, combined with Living Blues magazine, came here in 1983. This convergence that happened, and then started getting a lot of basically gravitas for the blues world here from those big collections.
The ceremony opened with blues singer-songwriter Libby Ray Watson. She told stories from her life as a blues musician and performed a handful of songs she wrote herself. When I got the chance, I asked what the Blues Archive meant to her.
It's a place where everybody can come and listen to these collections that people have donated. And this music that came out of our small little state and it is housed right here in this wonderful archive for everybody to see now.
Following a quick break and a cake-cutting ceremony, Oxford's own Afrosippi took the stage as the main event to conclude the celebration. Audience members of all backgrounds came to enjoy both of the acts.
I thought it was great. It's great. Anytime you can listen to the blues on a Friday afternoon, it's a wonderful day, and so we're particularly happy to be here in the Blues Archives at the University of Mississippi.
This has been Caden Williams, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Thank you, Caden. NewsWatch is so happy to have two award-winning stories today. Moving forward, housing is a hot topic here in Oxford, and the city is diving headfirst into making it more affordable.
Last week, city officials attended their very first Affordable Housing Commission meeting, where they had an in-depth discussion about how to make Oxford housing easier to afford.
Oxford city officials will be meeting with the Affordable Housing Commission once again this week to plan videos, break down key updates, and share news as it's received with Oxford residents.
The city will be providing live updates on their website explaining what the commission will be doing for Oxford. Be sure to check out their site and sign up for the newsletter to stay informed.
Coming up on NewsWatch Ole Miss, we've got a packed schedule of the watch that you don't want to miss.
And come back after the break to learn about the upcoming Double Decker Arts Festival. NewsWatch Ole Miss will be right back.
Sometimes in life, in order to move forward, it helps to look back. To learn from the pioneers and trailblazers.
To gain inspiration from those who came before us.
To show us what it means to act with empathy and to show that love has no labels.
Join WWE and Love Has No Labels throughout the year in celebrating people from all communities and heritages.
Because when love has no labels, that's a love we can all fight for.
Hurricane Helene, devastating impacts on the southeast. Now it's time to help the people and communities who need it most. To make a one-time financial gift to the American Red Cross, scan the QR code on the screen. Make sure to select I want to support Hurricane Helene and enter how much you'd like to donate. Or go to redcross.org/donate. Together, we will make a difference for those recovering in hard-hit communities.
Welcome back to NewsWatch Ole Miss. Exciting times for our community as Oxford prepares for the 27th annual Double-Decker Arts Festival coming up April 25th through 26th. This two-day celebration on the square will showcase the best in food, music, and the arts. So let's take a look at NewsWatch reporters Abigail Gasek and Sky Boyko as they give us a closer look at the event.
Friday starts at 5 p.m. and music is playing all night. Saturday starts off with a fun run, 5K and 10K, and followed by a day full of local music and art for everyone to enjoy.
I would say my favorite memory is definitely the 5K and 10K run that goes on. I just love seeing all the people participating in that, and there's just a wide range of people who do it. I'm going to do it this year, I've decided, so I think that's probably my favorite memory.
My freshman year, we went out early afternoon and we stayed there all afternoon going to the night of the Friday night, and it was just so much fun. It was something I'd never done before back home, coming from a very small town, and I don't know, it was just amazing, something crazy to do and just have fun.
Double-decker is kind of there's art, a lot of people come in with booths and they share their art, and they also have a lot of bands that come and play. I really liked Flatland Cavalry last year, that was really good. And it's mainly just, they also have food, they have hot dogs, I'm pretty sure, but it's just a lot of booths, music, art, stuff like that.
I just kind of see it as a big festival, a lot of people coming together, enjoying some music, some running, some events, a little bit of shopping too, so I just like the communal aspect of it. That's kind of what it is to me.
Honestly, last year I didn't go as much as I wanted to, so I'm just ready to go back, and I love going to see all the vendors and all the paintings they have, and it's just so cool to see all the, local art that they have, so yeah.
Probably the art again, because I didn't buy anything last year, but I think this year I'm going to splurge and get a little something.
There are shuttles offered, and the website lets you know more information about parking. The double-decker tradition came from Oxford buying a double-decker bus from England in 1994 and has developed into a giant arts festival for the entire town to enjoy.
Be sure to keep tuning in to NewsWatch for Double-Decker Arts Festival updates as we move closer to the weekend. We will have more local news later in the show, but let's turn to Cassidy with the watch for our national news.
Thank you, Sneha. This past Friday, President Trump ordered federal agencies to revoke security clearances from over a dozen political opponents, including former Vice President Kamala Harris, former Secretary Clinton, and others. This follows Trump's revocation of former President Biden's clearance last month. Trump's order also targets Republicans who have served January 6th committee, including former Representatives Cheney and Kissinger. The White House has not commented whether the clearances could be revoked in the future. And the Trump administration continues to reshape the federal government by wanting the Supreme Court to block a ruling reinstating thousands of fired federal employees. The administration appealed to the Supreme Court after a San Francisco judge ordered 16,000 probationary employees to be given their jobs back from the firings that were part of the government workforce reduction plan. The Supreme Court has not yet indicated when it will rule on the emergency request. Until then, the fate of thousands of federal workers remains uncertain. A study is underway in California to determine whether the firefighters who battled the Palisades fire in Los Angeles may jeopardize their long-term health. The Palisades fire was burned for weeks after breaking out last January, exposing firefighters to heavy smoke. Researchers from the Wildfire Conservancy and the University of Arizona are now testing hundreds of firefighters for the exposure to cancer-causing chemicals. The study includes blood and urine samples from CAL FIRE, LA Fire Department, and other smaller departments. Experts say that chemical exposure may be comparable to what New York City firefighters experienced on 9/11. Now that's all I have for your national news. We'll have a full local forecast for you coming up on NewsWatch Ole Miss. We'll be right back.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions? Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Good evening, Rebels, and welcome back to NewsWatch Ole Miss. It's been a beautiful day outside. Right now we're sitting at 72 degrees, and it's finally starting to feel like spring, which just started last week. Sunny, clear skies, and no chance of precipitation. Like I said, a beautiful day. We've seen a similar day all across North Mississippi, so you can see that we've been in the low 70s really all across the region. Not a lot of variety, and that's because of the absence of fronts that we have coming through. So should be in for a nice few days weather-wise. We can see a similar in the national picture. Right now we're kind of sitting in a good spot because this front that we have is moving on out, leaving North Mississippi right in the corner untouched, and that is right where we want to be after the storms that we had last night. Thankfully, nothing as eventful like that coming up again tomorrow. We can see 79 degrees, almost in the 80s. So we're a little high for this time of year, but hopefully that will help some of the plants start to bloom and really make it feel like the spring that we know and love here on the Ole Miss campus. Winds picking up just a little bit, and that should align with the cloud coverage that we will see moving in throughout the rest of the week. Similar day in North Mississippi, again topping 80 in South Haven, Tupelo, and Corinth, but we'll still be just below that threshold here in the middle of northern Mississippi. For our 5-day forecast, you can see we're looking at some sun, and then that cloud coverage I mentioned is moving in. We'll definitely have some warmer temperatures, but we're going to move into showers on Saturday.
I am so happy that the weather's finally starting to heat up and it's finally starting to get nice outside.
I know, it's definitely starting to be the perfect weather for spring and heating up. Yes, it's heating up outside just like it's been heating up in the NCAA tournament. And you know, it's been another incredible weekend for Ole Miss sports. So check back in after the break so we can talk all things March Madness updates and a series sweep.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Gonna be a hot one out there for move-in weekend, Ole Miss. Good luck this year, Red.
You did it. You're home. I can't wait for you to discover the true meaning of Hotty Toddy. It's a cheer that connects us all to the red and blue. It's the moment that begins when you step on campus and continues long after you turn your tassel. I can't wait for you to discover your legacy and make the world a better place. Are you ready? Everyone has a ritual. That small thing to keep us focused. A habit we never skip. To clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Maybe you surround yourself with positivity. Or you need to center yourself. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Welcome back, Revs. I'm Erica Durkee with Sports Watch. I hope everyone is feeling sweet because both our men and women advanced to the Sweet 16 over the weekend. The men took down a strong UNC team for their first tournament win since 2015. The Rebs were dominant in the first half, going to the locker room up 44-26. In the second half, the Tar Heels began to chip away at the lead until Ole Miss was up by only 2 with a minute left. A pivotal three-pointer from Sean Padula seemed to right the ship, though, as Ole Miss ended up on top. The Rebels then took on number 3, Iowa State, in what started out as a defensive battle, but Ole Miss's offense turned on with 5 players scoring in the double digits. This commanding 91-78 victory is sending Ole Miss to the Sweet 16 for the second time in program history. Here's what Coach Beard has to say about the win.
Told the guys to enjoy this for about a half a day, and then we'll get back to work tomorrow, and we're excited about our next opportunity in the Sweet 16. The basketball game, it's really important to us to try to take care of the ball. Iowa State's one of the best teams in the country on forcing turnovers. It was a scary start for us. We had 3 turnovers in the first 4 minutes, but then to play the rest of the game, about 38 minutes of basketball with only 5 turnovers, that was really the difference in the game from our perspective.
Women's basketball also saw success this weekend, beating number 12 seed Ball State pretty easily, holding the lead for over 34 minutes of the game. Kennedy Todd Williams and Star Jacobs each recorded a double-double, and Madison Scott's 15 points brought her to 1,700 in her career. Their next game of the weekend against Baylor was much closer, but thanks to a season-high 21 turnovers, strong offense from Sierra Thinu and Madison Scott, and 6 straight free throws to end the game from KK Deans, the Rebs make their second Sweet 16 appearance in the past 3 seasons. Be sure to tune in on Friday to watch the men play number 2 Michigan State at 6 and the women play number 1 seeded UCLA. The time is yet to be determined. Moving away from the court, but staying in the win column, baseball swept Missouri in their first SEC Road Series of the season. In Game 1, Ole Miss pitching was strong, striking out 16, with Hunter Elliott fanning 7 in 4.2 innings. Missouri held on to a 3-2 lead until the 6th when the Rebs took a 1-run lead, but 4 runs in the 7th inning would be the insurance Ole Miss needed, propelling them to a 9-6 win. Game 2 was an offensive battle, and Ole Miss won it 17-10, thanks to 6 home runs, 2 from Isaac Humphrey and 1 each from Mitchell Sanford, Ryan Marmon, Judd Utermark, and Will Furness. And despite Missouri scoring first in the final game, it wasn't particularly close either, with the Rebs besting the Tigers 14-6. Isaac Humphrey was named SEC Player of the Week thanks to his outstanding performance in the series, going 7 for 18 with 13 RBIs, 4 home runs, and 21 total bases in 4 games. He also has a 20-game on-base streak, which hopefully he can continue against Memphis at Swayze on Tuesday at 6:30. Softball, unfortunately, lost their series to Kentucky this weekend despite strong performances. Game 1 was a heartbreaker, with the Rebels forcing extra innings but ultimately falling in the 9th 9-6. Ole Miss took Game 2, though, erasing a 3-run deficit and taking a lead thanks to a home run by Lexi Brady. But they narrowly lost the rubber match 4-2 after a go-ahead homer by the Wildcats in the 5th. Ole Miss will play Missouri at home on Saturday at 2. And that's all I've got for sports. Be sure to follow us on our socials and tune in tomorrow at 5 for more March Madness updates. NewsWatch Ole Miss will be right back.
And just like that, she starts to grin. A special flame's been lit within. The spark of something new begins. There's something in the water. On her own, she's in the zone. Determination can't be thrown. Resilience building in her bones. There's something in the water. With her gator on and her waders on, she can tackle anything till dawn. There must be something in the water. On and off the boat she flies. The sky's the limit. She's soaring high. She's a force of nature on the rise. There's something in the water.
Just try one. If you don't like it, it's easy to give up. Nicotine, I'd better move fast. Up and away! Go on, kid, go on.
It's Superman! Superman, is it hard to give up smoking or is it easy like nicotine says?
You no good windbag, Nicotine.
No, Superman. Leave me one. Please, I need one. Just.
That's how hard it is, and that's why I never say yes to a cigarette.
How to know if you should reach out to a friend. Your friend might be worried, sad,
Grumpy, angry,
stressed,
weird, rebellious,
anxious, antisocial,
lonely,
sleeping less,
sleeping more,
eating less,
eating more. Look, there are a lot of things to watch out for, but you know your friend best. So if they're not acting themselves, why not say something? Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org. Awkward.
Welcome back to NewsWatch. The Associated Student Body is sticking to tradition by handing out stickers for school spirit.
One student put their latest ASB sticker design to the test to see which ones are worth putting on your laptop.
Well, Rebs, it's that time of year again. Associated Student Body season is happening right now. On today's episode of Let's Talk About It, let's compare and review some of the candidates' stickers for ASB elections. Starting off with the presidents, the most important sticker I would say of all of them, we have very simple and classic designs. They went with the red and the blue, signifying a presidential election. I like how classy Jax is. He went with a bold font right there with his name. And if you notice Hendrix with a little bit of a tulip detail, a little on the simpler side, but delicate and nice. It reads off well. And then the crest in the middle. Both very strong stickers. Very strong contenders. It goes hand in hand. Moving on to Vice President, Wesley Template. The stripes was a little simple for me. I would have liked to see a little bit more in detail, especially for Vice President. But I think the font overall is great. Voters for Voters, I think I like the blue. Again, a little too simple for my liking, but classy and unique, as well as the fonts match perfectly. Moving over to Walker Jacqueline, I really like this one. I think it has a little bit of pizzazz to it. The black and red, a little bit untraditional of political colors, which is nice because it shows kind of a middle ground for the political forum, and overall stands out when you're walking by. Secretary, Crawley for Secretary, connected with Caroline. I really like this one because it was the Connect game on the New York Times, and I liked that she had a theme going, and I also liked that she had some fun spring colors. It is springtime here in Oxford, and it reminds me of the beautiful campus, and so I like how she took a more delicate, pretty, eye-popping turn. A little simple with Malam. I think it's nice, and I like that he kept it simple with the color scheme, and it's presidential and it reads well. But I think, you know, we are Ole Miss and we do everything extravagant, so I would have just liked to see a little bit more of a push for a more high-tech design. Judicial chair, only one contender, so there will only be one winner if voted, Diego. I like the font. I think it's bold. It's interesting. Go vote Diego, go. We know where that's from. He kept it very interesting, and you could definitely see that sticker walking by. Lastly, Attorney General. I love this one. I think this is my favorite of all of them. Make your mark with Madison. You get the point. You get the voter box. I like the outline. Very different from what we've seen. I think the blue color was just perfect enough because the design was so much. And I definitely see this one a standout one. So that's all we have for today on Let's Talk About It. Stay tuned next week to find out who your new ASB Senate is. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, that's all we have for tonight. Tune in tomorrow.